Hey guys, it's YoungMindHS here, back with another video, and today we're going to be talking about every unturned server command in the game. So the reason I'm making this video is because I've had a lot of people asking me about this. So today we're going to be covering config commands, then we're going to cover console commands, and then we're going to cover in-game commands. So this video will just be the config commands, so that basically means the server commands that you can input. This will probably be a 3-part video, so definitely subscribe if this is stuff you're interested in, so you can catch when those other videos come out. So the first thing you're going to need to do is come to your Unturned, right click here, go to Properties, Local Files, and Browse Local Files. Now you will need a server already. If you don't have one, there'll be a link in the description to my Unturned server tutorial, and that will basically help you make the whole server. Then you want to go to Servers, the server that you have, and then go to Server and commands.dat. We then want to open this up. Now you might have stuff already in here. What you can do is just delete it if you want to follow the whole tutorial and get all the commands. So we're just going to start from the beginning basically. So the first server command that you need is name. Now what you will do is basically just type in the name of your server. Now this is a visible name, so this is what if people search for, they will find your server. I'm just going to call it YoungMind server. Very simple. It basically just means if someone searches for YoungMind server, mine will be the one that comes up. Then there's password. Now this can be anything you want. I'm just going to set mine as YoungMind. The reason for having a password is maybe you just want to play with friends and you don't want anyone kind of just to find your server in the server list. Or if they do, they won't be able to join without your password. Obviously if you're wanting, kind of random people to join, obviously don't put a password on there because they're not going to know it. Then the one is port. This is mandatory and it's 27015. The reason for this is basically if you want someone to be able to join your server, this basically allows their computer to access the server because it opens up the port 27015, which is the one Unturned uses. You can't use a different port from this. This is the set Unturned port. Then the next one is map. This again is pretty self-explanatory. I'm just going to use PEI, but basically this is just the map name. You can use this with workshop maps as well that you've downloaded, but it is case sensitive. So for example, if you're using Washington, make sure you capitalize where it needs the capital letter. Otherwise it'll just load you into PEI. Then the next one is max players. What this is basically how many people can join your server before it'll not let any more in basically. Again, this depends on how many people you want to play with. Maybe you just want to play with you and 3 other friends, and then you could just set max players to 4. But I'm just going to set it to 32. I'm basically just going to use the server as pretend that it's one that I want to host and to have people online join. Then we want to go to perspective. Now this can either be first if you're wanting the players to be locked into a first person perspective the whole time. So this is useful on kind of PvP first person shooter levels, where if they were able to go into third person view, they can maybe see around corners. It might provide an unfair advantage. Then there's third. This is a rare kind of one to put on, but again it's something you can do. And then what most servers run is both. This basically means people can switch between what they prefer. Then there is mode. Mode, and this is either easy, medium or hard. Not medium, sorry. Either easy, normal or hard. I'm just going to leave it on normal. There used to be in mode you used to be able to put gold, and basically what this would do is make it a gold server, but Unturned have changed that now, so don't be putting gold in the mode. and just put the difficulty level you want. And then there is either PvP or PvE. PvP means player versus player. It means players can attack each other, they can steal from each other, they can kill each other, things like that. PvE is just kind of player versus enemy, and it basically means they can only kill and fight the zombies. So again, it depends on what kind of server you're going for. If you're wanting a server where they constantly fight, then PvP, or if you want one where you want people to kind of collaborate against zombies and build together and things like that, then PvP is your way to go. PvE, sorry. So I'm going to leave it on PvP. I want people to be able to fight, so I'm going to leave it on PvP. Then there's cheats, and it's enable or disable. Again, if you're playing with friends, you can turn cheats on if you want, you don't have to use them. But if you're holding this for online, I'd recommend disabling them, just because, you know, if people can cheat, then it's going to be pretty hard to kind of keep in check what people are doing. But again, this is up to you. Then the next one is queue size. What this means is basically after your max players fills up, so say 32 people join my server, how many people can then wait in a queue to join the game? So say there's 32 people in my server, and then someone tries to join, they'll be put in a queue. And this basically means they'll need someone to leave before they can join. How many people do you want to be able to be in that queue before it just won't let any more people join? Because obviously there's not a point in kind of 60 people trying to join your server at once if there's only a max of 8 players. So I like to leave this at kind of half of the max players. Again, it's not an exact science, it's whatever you want, but that's what I like to do. Then there's timeout. So this is related to max players and queue size. So say if you have someone AFK, just kind of sitting in their base, how long should it be before they are kicked? Now I don't mean if they're just sitting in their base doing something, it literally means they have to be away from their keyboard. They have to be not playing the game, not moving, not crafting, not doing anything. It's not just going to kick people who are staying in their base. So I like to leave this at about either 300 seconds or 600 seconds. It is in seconds, so 300 is 5 minutes and 600 is 10 minutes. Again, it depends greatly on the mode. So if it's PvP, I'd recommend going for a shorter cooldown, and if it's PvE, I'd recommend going for a longer one. Just because during PvP, you can go AFK a bit more, you're not constantly looking to get raided. Because mine's a PvP server, I'm going to leave it on 5 minutes. Then the next one is cycle. So this basically means how long it takes from day to go to night, and then night to go to day again. So if you set it to 10 minutes, 600 seconds, you will have 5 minutes of day and 5 minutes of nighttime. Now again, this can kind of, depending on what kind of server you want to build, can, you know, vary greatly. Normally I recommend leaving it on a kind of shorter time loop, just because people might not be in your server for that long, they might want to experience day and night, and it might get annoying if they kind of join during the night and that's all they see for the next, you know, 20 minutes. So you might think it's kind of a cool idea to put your cycle on 24 hours, but again, if people kind of join during that, they might find it a bit boring. But again, it is up to you. It's your server, you can set it up how you like, but I'm just going to leave it at 10 minutes. So 5 minutes a day, 5 minutes a night. Then there is chat rate. What this basically means is how many seconds do people need to wait in between sending messages. So you don't need to have this one, and people can send as many messages as they want, you know, how often they want. I normally leave this as 3 seconds. I think that's kind of a good balance between people can't really spam, but they also don't feel annoyed that they can't speak that much. I recommend anywhere between 1 and 3 seconds. 1 if you're more PvP based server, I'd recommend going for a shorter chat rate. If you're PvE, go for a longer one. So I'm just going to meet it in the middle. I'm going to go 2. So this means if someone sends a message, they need to wait 2 more seconds before they can send another one. This does like kind of doesn't count towards typing it. So if they send a message, they can immediately start typing another one. So this normally means that, you know, if they're decently sized messages, they won't actually notice the chat rate. Then the next one is log. Now this is in this format, and I'll basically talk through all it means. So you either have a Y or an N in all these categories. Y stands for yes and N stands for no. So the first category is chat. So this basically means, do you want to log players' chat? Now if you're logging, just playing with friends, there's no point really logging anything, you can put N for all of these. But if you're hosting a server on the internet, you might want to host people's, you might want to log people's chat to check if they're being abusive, if you need to ban them, things like that. So I'm going to leave this on Y. Then the next one is join and leaves. So this will basically say when they joined, when they left, sorry. So this will basically tell you that data, and it'll log it for you. So this can be useful to see if someone just joined, killed a bunch of people, and then left again, and if you need to ban them because of that. Then the next one is death. This can basically tell you, you know, when they died, how often they're dying, things like that. And it can be useful if someone is kind of coming in and targeting one person and killing them over and over again. You can look at the logs and see that they've done that. And then the last one is anti-cheat. So if you're hosting a server where anti-cheat is not needed, then you can put this to no, because obviously you don't need to know if they're running anti-cheat or not. But again, if you're hosting a secure server where anti-cheat is needed, I recommend putting this to Y. So there's 4 sections. First one's chat, second one join and leave, third one is deaths, and fourth one is anti-cheat. Then there's hide _admin. What this basically means is that people on your in your server rather will not be able to see who's admin. Now the reason for doing this is if you're running a PvP server, it can be useful to not see who the admins are. The reason is because I've been admin on a couple of servers that didn't have the hide admin command, and as soon as you kill someone, they're calling for admin abuse. Oh, you cheated, you're abusing your privileges, things like that. And it's just complicated. So it can be better to hide the admins. But again, if you're on a PvE server, it can be better to not hide the admins because, or even on a PvP, because then people know who to complain to. You know, they might need help with something or things like that, and they know who they can go to. So again, this is all up to personal preference again. Take what you will, if you want to hide admins or not. And it's hide admins, not hide admin, sorry. Then the next one is gold. So this is what I was talking about earlier. This basically makes the server a gold server. It's this little thing down here. So this permanent gold upgrade. And it basically means that you can get like better stuff in the server. It's pretty rare to run this. I only know a couple of servers that do. So yeah, if you have a bunch of friends and they all have gold, sure, you can use this. But if you're just making it for the public, I wouldn't recommend it. Then there's sync. So this is a very interesting one. So say if you host 2 servers, you can turn sync on in both of them, and this will basically mean it'll save your inventories in between those 2 worlds. So say if you host kind of one server on PEI, one on Washington, then what that means is that you can get a weapon on Washington and then transfer over to the PEI server and you'll still have that weapon. It can be very useful, especially if you're transferring other things, like you have rocket mod and you transfer coins between shops and stuff like that. It kind of make your servers feel like one kind of big server, just with different worlds. So it can be really interesting. Then there's filter. What this means is that it will filter out English characters, non-English characters, sorry. So say if someone comes in with kind of like a Chinese or Korean name and they're speaking in Chinese characters, it'll filter all that out. Again, this normally doesn't bother me. It's not a huge problem, so I don't leave it on. And also, since I don't have other servers, I'm not going to have sync on either. Then the next command that we have is owner. So what you need to do for this one is type owner, and then you need a Steam ID. So I have a link down in the description. You basically just put your Steam ID in, and it'll come up with kind of your Steam ID details. So I'm just going to click on this, go copy, and then just put that in. Now the owner command is immune to hide admins, so everyone on the server will see you're the owner. So if you don't want this, maybe just admin yourself, and then just hide it. But this is if you want everyone to know you're the owner. Then there is loadout. Now this is related to skill sets and loadout. So as you see, skill set here. So say if you want the chef, for example, where were we? If you want the chef, so you'd put 8, then you put a slash, and then you give them what you want to give them. So say we want to give the chef an eagle fire. We go back there, so the eagle fire was 4. And then we want to give them some military magazines for the eagle fire. So let's say we want to give them, we'll give them 3 of those. So then this basically means when you spawn in as a chef, you will get a eagle fire and 3 magazines for it. Again, you can add whatever you want, and you can also add, so say if you wanted to then give the Spec Ops something, get that and give them what you want. Now if you want to give all skill sets, so anyone who joins the server will get these items, you just put 255 sorry, in the loadout. Again, you can make as many loadouts as you want, so it's just up to you. I'm not going to make a lot of loadouts just because I don't want to bore you kind of sitting through that. Then the next one is votify. This is basically how people can vote on your server. So the first command is vote aloud. So this is either a Y or an N. If you don't want votes, you can just put N and then skip to the next command. But if you want votes on your server, then you would go Y and then slash, and then this is pass cooldown. So if a vote passes, how long is it before someone can vote again? I like to do it as 60 seconds. This is all in seconds again. This basically means after a minute you can vote again. Then the next one is fail cooldown. So we'll see if a vote failed, how long is it before another vote can be called? I like to put this as 2 minutes just because it stops people kind of vote spamming. You do get that occasionally. Then the next one is vote duration. I like to put this as 2 minutes as well. So this is basically how long people have to vote on whatever has been called. Then the next one is minimum vote percentage. So this basically means what percentage of players needs to vote on it for it to work, basically. I like to have this as 60. So it basically means if there's 10 players in the server, 6 of them will need to vote yes for it to pass. Then the last one is minimum vote. So this basically means how many players need to be in the server before a vote can be called. I like to put this at 10 or 8. Anything under that, it gets a bit weird with the 60%, because it's hard to get 60% of kind of really small numbers. It comes out as not a whole number, so it can kind of mess up the vote. So I like to leave it at 10, or 8 is really the lowest. And then that's basically that whole command there. Then the next one is welcome. So this is just the welcome message. So say I want to say, hi guys, welcome to the server, and then that'll pop up. Then if you want this in a colour, you just put a slash, and then you come over to this site I'll also have in the description, and you can just pick whatever you want. So I want a kind of pinky magenta, and this is in RGB, so you can see R, we got 202, so we're going to put 202, then another dash, and then I want 12 for green, and then I want 240 for blue. So this will basically put it in RGB thing. And then the last command is bind. Now this is one I've never used, to be honest. It only really gets used by the big kind of server hosters, but I'll explain what it is anyway, just in case you can find a use for it. So bind, and then you put the IP. So what this means is, say you have two sources of internet that you want to run the server off, and the primary internet connection goes down, then you put in the IP address to the secondary internet connection that you want to connect to in case the first one goes down. So say you have your primary internet that you're running the server off, that goes down for maintenance or it crashes or something like that. Then instead of the server just going down, it'll connect to this secondary IP address. I don't see you getting a lot of use out of it, but you never know, you might be able to use it. I'm just going to remove it because I want my server to work. So it's really important to save this. If you don't save it, it will not work. It won't save any of the changes, so you won't get any of this. And then we're just going to launch it, and I'll show you how it works. So once you launch your server, you should see all that stuff here at the top once it loads in. So it will take a minute to load in. It can take a while, and that's everything there. So we'll just go back up to the top, and as you can see, because I've set it to greater than 24, it won't show on the internet list. So obviously you can set if you want it to appear on the internet list, you can set your max players lower than that. I was just picking a random number. And as you can see, all the things have been set here. So if we go into Unturned now, I'll basically just show you all of that. So let's just load up Unturned, so we can basically see everything working. I'll show you the whole server in action now. Again, as I said, this will be a 3-part video, where this one has been the config, the next one will be the command, so the console, and then the last one will be in game. So the next video will be on kind of commands you can put in here. This is probably the biggest section, so that will probably be a long video. So definitely subscribe for when that one comes out. That's the most kind of you can get. So we're going to put localhost, and I believe the password I put in was youngmind. Yeah, and then we want to join this. So this should be PEI. The welcome message say, hi guys, welcome to the server, I believe. Yep, we see that. And then we should be able to pick our... we have our class, so we should be able to get our loadout. So let's just go into here and see why we do not have our loadout. It does say it's set loadout 255, so every class should have it. And it says I've joined, I believe. So we're just going to exit that quickly and change our class just to the standard one, because it did not seem to like that for some reason. It could just be a problem with the skill set. So I'm just going to pick civilian, and there we go. So there we go, we'll just pick that one, go into play, connect again, and join it. And then we should get the loadout here, I believe. And as you can see, yeah, we get it there. I just needed to change the loadout again, it didn't seem to like it. So as you can see, we have our Eagle Fire and our free magazines, and the server's up and running with all those commands. As you can see, it said welcome to the server. It'll time me out, and I can't type messages, you know, under the 3-second mark. So the next video we'll talk about in-game, like kind of console commands. So, you know, if I wanted to kick myself like that, So I'll go over things like that. It's useful for the owner of the server, and then the video after that will be about in-game commands. That's useful for your admins and yourself if you just want to type in commands in-game. That'll cover things like the give command. So if you did like this video, it'd be really appreciated if you could drop it a like. And if you're looking forward to that new kind of content, the new videos covering the different commands, I also do different tutorials, definitely think about subscribing. And I have got a new feature on my channel where you can join as a member. I think it's only like £1 or £2 I believe, and that would really be great in supporting me. Also, if you have any questions about this video, do feel free to leave any questions you have in the comments below, and I'll be happy to answer them. But anyway guys, till next time, I'll see you soon.